Okay, good morning. Today is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Selectmen. It is March 25th and it is 8:30 a.m. In front of you, you have today's agenda. There are two additions I would like to add to today's agenda. The first being trees, a South Avenue relief project and tree purchase. If we could end that, I'm trying to think when, we'll just put it at at item 15 before the appointments, after the Elm Street bump outs. And then could I get a motion to approve that addition?
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. And then the second item is possible discussion and vote regarding the executive session item, which will come after the executive session. Do I have a motion to add that?
So moved.
It's unanimous. And then can I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
And so moved.
It's unanimous. Thank you. And then you have the minutes from our regularly scheduled meeting on March 4th. Do you have any additions or corrections?
None here.
Okay, could I get a motion to approve the minutes from our March 4th meeting?
So moved.
It's unanimous. Thank you. Public comments. Members of the public are welcome to provide comments to the Board of Selectmen on agenda topics scheduled for review and or vote. Comments submitted electronically should be sent to the following address: bosdistribution@newcanaanct.gov. Do we have anyone wishing to? No? Okay. Oh, you know what? Sorry. I don't think we need to vote on this, but I see somebody from conservation. Did you want to speak, Jill, on the trees, or are you just listening? Okay, then never. Okay. All right. Okay. You know, we could move that up.
Yeah.
If we have somebody in that. Sorry, I didn't realize. I just connected that. So why don't we move the trees up to where's your first item? Tiger. Yeah.
Five.
All right. Why don't we do number 4, the new number 4, and then we'll start. Just for you, Jill. You're welcome. Okay. I don't think we need to vote on that. We've already approved that it was in. Okay. So Waveney Park closure requests. John and Tucker.
Good morning. So it's really not closing the whole park. It's closing for vehicle traffic that morning because of caffeine and carburetors. Last year, due to a success of caffeine and carburetors, there was too many cars, and you wouldn't have been able to get a car through it a lot of times, say nothing about an ambulance or a fire truck. So with the special events committee, we met many times to discuss on how we can make caffeine and carburetors still work for the park and still donate to the Conservancy, but make it so that it's safe and doable. And one of the things that came out of that was closing the park to car traffic that aren't registered for caffeine and carburetors. So they're going through a whole process on how to have a pass on their windshield, 2 different entrances, and if they don't have the pass, how they're going to exit and everything else. So I think it's going to work real well compared to what we have had.
CERT has been also very involved in planning for trying to manage the vehicular traffic. So, you know, there are, for anybody who happens to come in and is not a registered vehicle, if you come from South Avenue, you'll go out Tiger Trail. You'll be directed out Tiger Trail and then the high school to exit. And if you're coming in Lapham, you'll exit through the pool slash. Yeah. So those 2 areas will serve as exits for vehicular traffic that's not registered. But
will there be people at both of those entrances? So
yes.
You can't even come in? Is that the deal?
Yeah, well, they can come in because what they don't want to do is like have someone confused, like stopping on South Avenue. Now, what do I do? Or stopping on Lapham. What do I do? So they will direct them in and, you know, because they will have a demarcation that they are a paid exhibitor or a paid member of the public to attend, that they will direct them out, how to get out, and then how to, so that the traffic, the problem that we've had in the past is traffic has been backed up. And so we're trying to keep vehicular traffic moving consistently. And so you either come in and are directed where to park or directed out.
So I'm just trying to understand the logistics, and you guys
Mhm.
have been in more meetings than I have on this one. So you got the two entrances.
Yep.
There will be, it will be CERT volunteers, basically, as you're driving
Police
up.
and CERT.
So,
Free cert volunteers.
so well, basically, before someone even turns in, they'll be saying, oh, you don't have a pass.
No,
use- yeah.
actually, they'll still come in, say, coming in off South Avenue, they'll still come into the park. But when they get to the intersection where you go up to Tiger Trail, that will be, okay, you have a pass, you can go up the hill the regular way. But if you don't, you're gonna exit through the high school and there'll
There
be
still
people
will be
there.
police at the entrance.
So that's
though.
what I'm saying. So
There
hopefully,
still will be
hopefully you'll
police at the
wait.
entrance.
people
Police are gonna
along.
be there.
Yeah.
There's other volunteers plus CERT.
We'll have the electronic signage out several days before. We're gonna use a lot of our communication to let everybody know what's happening.
So
that
we'd only be someone kind of confused who would turn in.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And the key is, as Deanna and John just pointed out, the key is just to keep the traffic moving. As soon as you stop and have a conversation with a car that lasts more than 2 seconds, you're backing everything up. So the key is just to make sure that we keep the traffic flow going.
Short 5-hour
Mm-hmm.
window, right? If someone, is from, for some reason to pay attention, they would come down, they're going to walk the dogs. So is there going to be, you're going to direct them to go, oh, park there or there? They'll be directed where they could park. Can they go park at the high school?
They're gonna be ushered out to the high school, and then once that fills up, they're gonna have to find, we'll have we've already worked with all the schools. We have all the schools. Remember, we've got churches going on in some of the schools as well.
Right,
So
exactly.
these meetings have been probably 15 different people at each meeting, representing all the different facilities that could be affected by it. But yes, we'll accommodate that. We're also asking Doug in his communications as on behalf of Caffeine and Carburetors, there's going to be satellite parking at the lumberyard and at Talmadge Hill, and he's providing buses. And he's going to make a big effort to communicate that to people. If you're just a spectator coming to the show, please park in these locations and we'll bus you in to, again, mitigate some of the car traffic that's coming into the park.
And Amy, I think it would be fair, and I'd love your opinion, but we try to be very judicious about using the Everbridge system. But I think that like either the night before or the morning of, I think it might be fair to say Waveney Park will be closed between these hours for vehicular traffic. You can walk your dog, you can, whatever, but you just can't drive in. I think, I don't know, I don't want to abuse that system because it is an emergency call out system too. And I don't want to
Yeah.
abuse it, but
I think about that, yeah.
yeah.
But,
So-
Or we can do it through DPW because Tiger has a pretty, we could do it through DPW and maybe that's,
Rec
and Parks
system,
and
which gets
Recs.
to a lot of
yeah, so
families
maybe
in
we do
town.
it that way. We do it through
Yep.
DPW and, it's still Everbridge, but it's a different list. So maybe we do it that way.
but I think you need to underscore why we would close the park for a private entity to have an
Yeah.
event. And I think and you got to let
And I
people
think
know
it's,
that.
since we're in the meeting, I think it's important for people to, it has been in the press, but, starting last year, it was a requirement of this event that they charge their vehicles that are showing and anybody, well, there's just a exhibitor fee. All of that exhibitor fee, 100% is being held by the Community Foundation. And well, actually the Community Foundation is the downtown show.
Right.
Although I think they're still holding the stuff. They're the intermediary.
Yeah.
So they're holding all the funds and all the proceeds from the Waveney show go to the Waveney Park Conservancy. And all of the proceeds from the downtown show go to a human services fund that part of it went to last year, $4,000 went to the merchants to
The gift certificate program.
certificate program. And then another, so I think it was 16,000 that was raised. The remainder is going to a fund to help offset those most vulnerable in our community's auto repair bills. Cause that's, obviously given Caffeine and Carburetors and Doug's, so I think it turned what was a very frustrating event to many members of the community into something that can really be a great event.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win now.
Yeah, for years, there were those folks who said, hey, listen, why are we taking so much away from the community? We're not getting anything back. Well, this completely flips it around and says, hey, listen, this is a great event for those attending, and it's a great event for the community. So, I think it's a win-win now.
And there are how many Caffeine and Carburetors a year now? How many?
Two,
Two.
only two,
So
one
this-
in Waveney,
okay.
one in downtown, and we will not allow any.
Used to be 4.
Okay,
We are
so-
not going to allow
yeah,
any
so
more.
you've got to realize this is a once a year, 5-hour, which you could still use the park.
Yeah.
But with this, we have a substantial amount of money going to the Conservancy, which
Which
helps
benefits.
everybody.
Which helps the taxpayer, because
Mm.
there's a lot of projects that,
All right.
need to be done there.
Because I think it's legitimate for people to go, why, why are
Yeah.
we doing this? And this is the reason.
Yeah.
So,
So there's two other things that go on, like, I'm looking at the date here. So paddle, has men's and women's paddle been alerted to what they're supposed to do?
They will be. We haven't alerted them yet. We need approval like this, but the dog park will send out emails
Paddle,
to
and
the dog
then
park to keep.
We're
them
gonna have a new
posted.
baseball field there too. So a Sunday morning, I mean, that's gonna be a big deal too. There's
Sunday
gonna-
morning in
People are gonna want to
October,
be on that
they
too.
won't be playing early. We, last year, we didn't have a problems closing to all the sports groups,
Yeah.
the fields up there in the morning. It's only Sunday morning.
Right.
In general, they don't like to use Sunday morning unless they really have to. So.
Afternoon on Sundays.
Yeah.
For those of us who are,
These meetings
Yeah.
too, again.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody should know by the time we get there.
but it's a good point. It needs to be really well communicated to the, because part of the problem is people
Churches,
don't know
Yeah.
what's happening. And the churches have been part of this process the whole way.
that's their day.
It is their day.
That's their day.
That is,
The downtown show. And
I
again, we've
know,
done a
right.
lot of work with them
Right.
to accommodate.
Yeah.
And we've come up with a date now that they all said they were very happy with it. So.
The,
the show.
the event in downtown, will that be Sunday or Saturday?
It's Sunday morning and it's June. It's the weekend after school gets out.
Yeah.
And both the churches were very pleased with that date and said it really helps them. There was a possibility of a week before, but that was going to be around confirmations and
Confirmation
things
stuff,
like
yeah.
that. So we moved everything to
All right.
accommodate.
okay. Any other questions?
Nope.
All right. If not, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Parks and Recreation Director on behalf of the Special Events Committee to close Waveney Park I'm going to add to vehicular traffic. On October 19th, 2025, from the hours of 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. for a car show to benefit Waveney Park Conservancy.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Tiger, trees.
Morning.
Morning.
Thank you for adding this item. We're very excited actually to bring this to you. I'm joined in the audience by Jill Ernst from the Beautification League and online by Betsy Bylas from the league. Betsy's been, I guess, spearheading this project for the past several years.
Come up. You sure?
I had invited her. She said she would rather sit in the audience. Yeah. But we are excited, as I mentioned, to bring this project forward. This is the South Avenue Relief Project in partnership with the Beautification League. So we came up with a plan to reestablish the trees on South Avenue, Route 124 from Cherry Street to Surrey Road. The ladies went out with Keith Simpson Associates and members of our highway department to stake everything, find the locations for each tree, find the best tree for the best location. Process of getting an encroachment permit with the state. We have hopefully our final meeting with the state on Wednesday as a review. And then they'll give us our permit in order to be able to put the trees in. But the thought is to get this purchase approved so we can get the trees dug, get the approval from the state, and then hopefully start planting trees sometime in early April. Our tree warden is hopeful that we can have them in before the dogwoods bloom, which is around April 15th. It's a little aggressive, but we'll see what we can do. So for the tree purchase itself, we went out to 3 separate nurseries, and then we received 2 bids. Unfortunately, we only got 2 back, not 3. And the low bidder was Zeno Nurseries Incorporated, also known as Hardscrabble Farms, for a total of $49,545. I did add a contingency of 10%, might be a little bit fat, but it was more on the side of if the tree is a little bit bigger, we see a better one that, or we need an additional species or a substitution based upon what the state might say on Wednesday. I added that in, and that would only be for tree purchase, wouldn't be for anything else, for a total of $54,545. And we have the monies available in our fiscal 25 tree budget at present.
So is the money ARPA money? We put aside money, ARPA money for trees. Is it
Right.
basically, we put it, remember we held it, we threw in the contingency and we held it separately, the ARPA money? So is that, are we doing it on a current basis? How are we paying for this
It's
stuff?
technically, so it's technically ARPA money,
Yeah, that we shifted all over into general fund, which made
Yes,
sense, but
yes,
it was kind of
yes.
like earmarked.
Yes,
Yeah.
so just because of an approval process, I think it's easier if we do, and you can talk to the way we're doing this. I don't want anybody to be surprised, but it is the ARPA money,
No.
but we're from approval process because we're in a rush.
That's fine. I just want to make sure we use this money for the trees.
Yes.
You know, however the
Absolutely.
process is, let's not
That's
let it
We're
get.
paying ourselves back. I think that's the best way to look at it. We're going to take it out of Tiger's budget and use the ARPA money.
To reimburse your budget.
The ARPA money will be set up with a project code just for that purpose, so nobody else can
Yeah.
spend it for anything else.
Yeah, I just don't want
No.
it to get lost, you know.
No,
the
no, no.
tree
It's
money
going to be
gets lost.
identified in a separate fund so they can't.
Mhm.
It's taking our general fund that we're taking back from that ARPA and reassigning it.
How many trees are we putting in?
Approximately 150.
What's the mix of the
Look
species?
here.
Uh,
Here.
Yeah, well, we have basically the right tree in the right place. So we
Right.
have low growing trees underneath wires, taller trees where it's open to the sky. And then there's a mix. We don't want to have a monoculture. So this is on our approved list. Our tree warden vetted it, and it came from the Beautification League through Keith Simpson Associates to our tree warden and through the state arborist as well. So they've all looked at it. But it should give us a nice mix of color and size and shape. Yeah. Yeah, there's areas, if you walk and look, you can see where there's like
Nothing.
very line, where the
DOT
stakes are.
yesterday.
DOT's tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So they'll, but there are lines of stakes where you see where we don't have trees or trees had fallen over time, over the past 20 plus years. So we're excited.
So how do we make sure they, I mean, I know we lost a lot of trees with drought like last year. I mean, are we working with homeowners? I mean, are we watering? We work with homeowners, say, hey, adopt this tree, take care of it. I mean, it sounds silly, but you need a couple of years for a tree to get established.
We'll be watering them in the short term, and then hopefully the residents will help us and
Yeah.
adopt the trees that are in front of their property. But we'll be taking care of that first year
Okay.
of watering. It's one of the part of the purchase and the maintenance for them, and to go back to the nursery. If it's not watered, nursery won't warranty it. So we'll come and take care of that for at least the first year, through the establishment. If we need to next year, we will. Hopefully this summer won't be as hard, with a drought as we've had.
So DPW is planting them, right?
We are planting them with the Beautification League. That's correct.
So unlike if you went to a nursery and plant your tree and paid up to get it planted, you get a guarantee. So we don't have that, right?
We don't have that for the planting. We have it
It
for the
costs a lot.
plants, is provided that they're irrigated and planted properly, but our tree warden will watch, and then they'll be irrigated throughout.
I hope everyone who gets a tree in front of their house adopts it. This is going to be beautiful.
How is it communicated with the neighbors? Are there letters that go out or anything, or they just know it's
Each
coming?
neighbor was communicated with, and then now the stakes have been out for quite a while, and then we'll come back and
Okay.
revisit. We had a couple of neighbors had concerns about locations,
Yeah.
and we addressed those specific locations, either removed the trees or made them wider so that there was a better view of their property from the street line. One, we actually had to remove because there's a new driveway going in.
Yeah.
So we had to remove one of those.
That's sightlines, Tiger. As the trees get older and people pull out of their driveways, is there a concern? I mean, you guys have moved them back from the driveways. I saw that, but
That's right. That was our biggest concern. That was the state's biggest concern. And that's one of will be one of the points that we address tomorrow. So Maria and I have already walked the street posting. And when they posted it, they had that view. And then when Maria and I were out there, we had the exact same view as to, what would be the sight lines coming in and out of your property. And then tomorrow's visit with the state, that's one of the major criteria for them. Is that making sure that there won't be any problems. There is a maintenance agreement that will be signed that states that we will have to maintain the trees. So if in the future one has to be removed, the town will have to remove it. But that's pretty much standard for any new installation on state property in the state right of way. So if we put granite curbing in certain areas that they wanted blacktop curbing in, we have to maintain it as well. So we have several maintenance agreements with the DOT for several locations in town. This is no different.
well, I mean, it's going to be spectacular when they grow in. It's going to be beautiful. It's one of the gateways to town. And I think the last time we did a major planting, I'd say, was my great grandfather was way back. They did line South Avenue when it was first built. And it's so exciting to be able to be part of doing it again. So
Mhm.
it's really neat.
It's great. And if people stop putting signs on South Avenue, that would
Yeah.
help. They're not allowed, folks.
It's the spring and they're popping up again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this board has a real issue with the stakes in the
Yes.
ground signs. We talk about it all the time, but if you see them out in the right of way, anybody in the public
Pull
can
'em out.
pull them out. So
Yeah.
We wanna
Commercial
keep-
signs are not
I
allowed.
want to keep everything looking nice. So
Yeah. Okay.
I don't-
If there are no further questions, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works in partnership with New Canaan Beautification League to enter into a contract with Zeno Nurseries, Inc., Hardscrabble Farms in the amount of $49,545, plus a contingency of $5,000 for a total cost of $54,545. The project entails purchase of trees for the Trees 2025 South Avenue Relief Project.
so moved.
Second, that's great.
It's unanimous.
Very exciting.
Okay.
Betsy, thank you very much. Jill, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Betsy.
This is really great.
Yeah.
Really great.
Okay. Waveney Park Trails.
So this next is for the next set of trail work that we're looking to perform on in Waveney Park. It's basically the South Avenue Trail. So as you come into the park from the main entrance off of South Avenue and that first crossing, and you look to the right from South Avenue all the way to the Farm Road Trailhead. It's one continuous trail. It's about 2,750. It's about 2,750 linear feet long. We went out to bid. We noticed it in the paper and then solicited it from several contractors. We got 8 bids back, and AJ's Landscaping came in as the low bidder at $76,380. AJ's is a new vendor for us. They've done nice work in the towns of Wilton and Darien. He's been bidding our trail work for the past year or so and looking at other work. And the trail work that we did in the in the fall, he was very, very close. If he had changed one of his numbers, he would have won that bid. He tightened up his bid. He's very excited to be working with us and for us. And we have no reason to believe that he won't do a good job. We added a contingency of 15% for $11,500 for a project total of $87,880, and the funds are currently available in our Waveney Trails capital account. Once this is done and new funds come in, we'll be looking to do the trail as you come in off of South Avenue to the left. So then it'll be the entire week, just waiting for, that's approximately a $60,000 job, waiting for those for that to be approved, hopefully in the budget. And then we'll come back out and rebid that side and do that piece. And then that'll tie into the area that the Waveney Park Conservancy is looking at doing along the Merritt Parkway. They're looking to do along the Merritt Parkway Trail. And then we'll have that entire frontage of trail reestablished or reconstructed.
So this is the part that, so you enter off of Farm Road, and then this would encompass all the way down to, is it where the entrance of Waveney is, or are you talking about, okay.
Yeah. So if you came in off of Farm Road and then walked south all the way to the entrance from Waveney. Yeah, exactly.
In terms of timing, how long, did they have any idea how long that'll take? And how
Yeah,
long?
it's going to take him it's going to take him 3-4 weeks at minimum.
Yeah.
You know, he's trying to dial in his time. The last one that we did, guy was there for a week, hammered it out. And then this is approximately 2 to 3 times as long. So we're assuming, 2 to 3 times longer in duration. He wants to come in and
We did this trail. Like how long should this hang in there?
we actually changed over from what was the standard trail of dirt and wood chips in 2014, 2015 with a steep grant.
Mhm.
So it's been about 10 years, but was only processed at that point in time. So it was only a processed aggregate base, not the Waveney mix itself. So the Waveney
This
mix,
is like a small stone kind of.
yes, it's called a 57 stone. It's a mixture of pea stone and a 3/8 inch stone, which gives us that nice look and that nice feel on every other trail that we've done with the Conservancy. So now this is our stretch. So we're looking to do this as well in the same material. So it should last us 10 years plus. And then with maintenance, we shouldn't have an issue just top dressing from there on.
And there's a couple of low spots along the way there. Will they do any kind of irrigation under there, or is it just building it up?
Gonna come over the top. We're looking at some of the crossings, if we need to address some of the crossings, but the majority of it, in walking it, it's a little low, but we're in a wet area throughout. So it's very difficult to kind of build it up and then block it all off.
Tiger, I think I'm misunderstanding where it is, because I know that if you come in off South Avenue, you take a right, there's a trail that goes right along South Avenue.
That's correct.
And stops at Farm Road. There's like a bollard there.
It's the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Steve-
you said Waveney and I'm like, I'm confused.
By the way,
Yeah,
Steve
yeah.
came in from Farm Road and went south towards the Waveney entrance. We're going north.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm like, where are we now? Okay, same
Yeah.
trail,
Same trail.
same trail.
Parallels.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know, this is great. You got all these bids, but they're so all over the place. I just want to make sure you're comfortable. We had new person come in and they're probably trying to bid to get in. It's just, I just want to make sure you're getting the same product, from.
We'll ensure that we get the same product. He understands exactly. He watched the other construction go in. I think I mentioned he's a little aggressive, but my estimate of construction was somewhere between 2 and 3. The sound construction number was probably the a little bit more conservative and probably the one that hit it right on the head. I can tell you where the other bidders went wrong up until you get past Burns, and the last two I can't explain those.
You're too busy.
Right. So but the first ones, the number is somewhere in the order of between 100 and 125 was my estimate, but I always like to be second.
Yeah. So that's what you had in your budget, that in
had-
your
had
thought
my-
process, that was the line item. Okay,
That's correct.
thanks.
When you spec that stone, that's a stone that's commonly available, or? is
Has
that-
to be mixed, actually. So it's two stones that we mixed on site and then distributed from there. They used to make the mix. They don't make the mix anymore. So now you have 2 different types that they'll mix on site. We either mix in his yard and bring here, or they'll mix on site.
Questions?
No, but when it's under construction, people can keep using it. They just kind of have to.
Yes, the trails would be open. Again, we asked the contractor just be aware and cognizant of the fact that we necessarily can't close the trails. People, even if we tried to close the trails, people will not adhere to the signage.
Mhm.
So we just tell them to be very aware and very cognizant of the fact that someone will be coming by, quite readily.
Yeah, there could be trees across those trails and, falling.
Oh,
And
you walk over.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
good.
I mean, people just want to go.
that'd be nice.
All right, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with AJ's Landscaping for $76,380 plus a contingency of $11,500 for a total project of $87,880 to reconstruct the existing trail from South Avenue entrance to Farm Road Trailhead along with other improvements.
So moved.
Second,
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Next time.
All right, incinerator building stack removal.
This is our newest incinerator. We have 2 incinerator buildings. This is the one that houses the salt area and the swap shop. It was decommissioned in the 90s. And one of the 2 stacks needs to be removed at best. We're still looking at what to do with the overall building and how to bring it down safely eventually. Since it was an incinerator, it's a heavy environmental cost to do that. Plus its location sitting on top of the highway department makes its location very, very difficult as well, since a portion of the highway department sits underneath the incinerator itself, actually where the ash floor came out. So right now we just like to be able to remove this so that it doesn't come down onto the roof. We had pricing from Stanford Wrecking for $17,500. We asked Antonelli Roofing to give us a price to actually patch the roof once it's done at $4,650. And unfortunately, our radio for our DPW trucks is on this stack, so we're looking for it to be relocated somewhere else on the roof itself. And that price from Northeast Communications, which is our preferred vendor, at $3,652.36. That comes to a subtotal of $25,802.36. I added a 15% contingency for $3,800 for a project total of $29,602.36. And the money's available in the incinerator building demolition capital account project number 89418.
Tiger, how much
Sure.
have we been like on, because we've done a lot of roof projects. Our contingency on these roof projects, what have we been running?
Oh, I'd have to look back and see. It was not
Yeah.
very much. I mean, the Irwin one was a little bit
I
different.
kind of feel like we could bring this down to 10% and just,
If you want to bring it on 10%, bring it on 10%. I have no problem. That would be 20, just say $2,500.
All right.
Instead, so you take off 1,300. So you go 28,300.
all right, so where are we? So the total without the contingency,
25,802.36.
25,802.36, and then 2,500.
Right.
Okay.
So that should bring it to 28,302.36. I'm sorry.
No, wait,
Yeah, what?
302.30.
28,302. Right.
Thank you.
No problem.
Tiger, long-term,
Mm,
after that,
exactly.
yeah, let's talk about this building. So, we all hate the piecemeal stuff,
I agree with you.
Yeah, so, what are we talking about long-term? I mean, we're not using this building or specifically for anything right now, or are we? I mean,
Right now, it houses our salt, right? It's a non-salt, and we're like one of the only towns in the state that doesn't have a dome.
Yeah.
We can't dump salt in the area. We have to dump it outside and push it in. We have to bring it out to load a truck. So it's
not very efficient.
right. There was when the highway department moved over from Avalon to this area, we had a salt dome as part of the plan.
Yeah.
That was taken out of the plan at the time of the move, that 25 years ago. So the thought is to take this building down and place a proper salt barn there with an animal control building, because that's the building next to it, and then possibly a swap shop. There's enough area there to reutilize.
Yeah.
So we're right now that we have monies to study that proposal to see exactly what it would be. We had some preliminary estimates in the $4.5–5 million range to have this done. So at that point in time, we wanted to take a step back, take a look, and see exactly what we can do and what are what's the path forward and what's the best method to actually take the building down, since it sits over the top of the highway department. It's literally above the lunchroom. So do we knock it into the highway department and then rebuild that portion of the highway department? Do we just try to lift it all off? There's a lot of factors involved, and right now we're just in this.
And because it was a town created problem, there's no grant money available to help.
We did look at that, but since it's our incinerator, we can't, there's no funding, there's no grant funding for that available.
Help with that.
Yeah, we,
Times it's just, yeah.
this one, we're trying to skin the cat a few different ways, but it is,
Got it.
yeah.
Yeah, so,
it's not an inexpensive,
but it's good to talk about what that could potentially be, because that would solve a lot of problems if we
Mhm.
could, tackle all of that at once. You mentioned 3 outstanding issues right now that would be taken care of. So it's good.
That is the goal. That's why we're trying to take a look at it and take a look at it judiciously and say, okay, because there'll be a lot of area opened up for us and a lot of needs that could be satisfied. We have an animal control building in the old incinerator building from the 50s onward, which it's at best. And our swap shop is in the offices of the old incinerator building. So if we wanted to try to, make sure we had enough room, that I believe that there's enough room to house all 3 in 3 separate, more purpose-built buildings, specifically a salt barn that we can actually drive into.
So where are you in analyzing the options? And so you have 75,000 in the special account for demolition capital. Is that where you have money to study how to do it? Or, I mean, what's your timing game plan on that?
Our timing, well, this will be coming back to the forefront once the police department is gone. We did originally look at areas on the capped landfill to see if we could put a salt dome and then be able to just knock that building down and go forward. We can place something on the cap, but it's cost prohibitive at that point in time. So we said it would be much better to just come back to the area that we have and look. Now we've just got to go back out, hire the proper consultant to take a look and see exactly what is the art of the possible in that location. So that's our next step. Once we put the police department to bed, our next step is to come back out here and look at that.
Okay.
Shortage of projects.
not in time to get this stuff done is the answer.
Yeah, no,
Is
I
the
get that. I guess it
Okay.
just seems, I mean, I know you've been raising the flag on the incinerator for years,
Mhm.
years. And it's like, the first two things we did were really fun. There were trees,
I know.
and parkland. And this is kind of like the stuff that's not so fun, but
Yes.
at some point we have
Yeah,
to
we have
do
to
it.
do The one question I had on this radio relocation, we're not moving it to sort of the next thing we're gonna knock down, right? I mean,
No,
we're
it's
gonna
just
move
gonna
it
be-
to somewhere where it's gonna be for a while, right?
It'll be,
Okay.
right, right. Until we take the building down, yeah, it'll be just, we're just moving it to a different location on the roof. It just happens that it was a little bit taller being on that stack, but it won't affect our usage.
And this isn't anywhere on the 5-year capital plan. So it's like we have to get the numbers, we have to get where it fits on the 5-year capital plan, because we've already had, as we've all discussed, we have to go on a debt diet in this town. So
Well.
that Moody's communicated that clearly in both last year and this year's rating call. I mean, I think Todd Lavieri in his letter to the community articulated that, we have to be more judicious in how we spend and and there's a lot of big projects on the horizon. So we just need to figure out, it needs to be laid out with cost estimates in the 5-year capital plan so that we can figure out where it fits in the 5-year capital plan.
But I think we should put it in there with the placeholder. Like
Absolutely. We
the
just don't
next
have a
year,
dollar
but
figure.
the next year capital plan should be in there somewhere,
So. All right, any
All
other
right.
questions?
No.
If not, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Stanford Wrecking for $17,500 for stack removal and a contract with Antonelli Roofing for $4,650 for roof repair and a contract with Northeast Communications for $3,052.36 for DPW radio antenna location, plus a contingency amount of $2,500 for a total project cost of $28,302.36 to remove the existing stack on the incinerator building at the transfer station, including antenna relocation and roof patching work.
So moved.
So
It's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, equipment repair.
This next one's not much fun either, but so we'll try to get to fun. I got a couple more items. We'll try to get to fun in a little bit. So this next one, I'm joined by Lou Boyes and Jimmy Peck from our highway department. This next one is for equipment repair for our unit 35, our backhaul. It's basically due to the nature of its use, leaf collection, storm drain cleaning, hydraulic excavation. The units require periodic repairs and maintenance to ensure their long-term viability and provide a substantial savings over
Is
a
that
new
new,
purchase.
like $6 million truck or whatever, 600,000? What's
640.
It's not 6 million.
$600,000 truck. Is that going to take care of some of this?
Hope so.
Right.
Yes.
It'll
Yeah.
do some of the work that this is
Definitely.
doing at present, probably a little bit more
Silly.
efficiently. So we went to Bar Sales, which is the regional sales representative for VACOL in our region, and all sales and repairs are directed to them from VACOL. So we went to Bar Sales. We received a quote for $14,352.50. I added a contingency of 10%, $1,400 for a total of $15,752.50. We have the monies available in our fiscal 25 account. The unit's necessary. It's part of our fleet. It's part of what we do.
How old is this truck?
2016.
2016.
It's supposed to last like 20 years.
It's not the actual truck part, it's the VACOL
The
part. There's a
VACOL part.
bearing.
So how long should this thing work after we get it fixed?
Gotten, so 9 years thus far, if the truck that's in the budget for next year is approved, this will probably take a back seat to some of the frontline work on the catch basin cleaning and stuff like that. So
This may just go toward leave.
yeah, it's super necessary for leaves around town, so we do need it. Just happens, it's a bearing, but the bearing's buried. They just, hydraulic motor, then there's a bearing, then there's a fan, there's a truck body. All it has to come apart. It's super labor intensive.
Hard to get to.
So it's nothing catastrophic. It's just a bearing.
So it's mostly labor in this, not product.
A lot of it
parts. You're the truck man.
So it's always the stuff on the inside that breaks, not the outside. That's the problem.
Hardest stuff to get to.
Yep.
But I'm assuming, like a vehicle like this, it's not, I mean, I think we did something in the last meeting about, a major vehicle that we have to put some money in every number of years to keep it going. This is just typical maintenance, like nothing of this is surprising, right? Is this?
The bearing could have lasted
Yeah.
25. It
Yeah.
just happened to go. It just,
yeah.
it's not lack of
Maintenance.
maintenance or anything like that. It's just, in fact, this is the third one we had go bad this year. So maybe some of it has to do with dust that we were fighting. So we don't know, but we've never had 3 bearings go bad in one leaf season.
Yeah. It was a bad leaf season.
So we're not sure. I know they're sealed, whether or not the dust is so fine, maybe it does get in there. It doesn't take much to ruin it. So
Okay. So it's not, you're not worried about the supplier or like, have you talked to any other like surrounding communities? Are they seeing some of this?
no, we have not spoke to them particularly, but
Yeah, it might be worthwhile reaching out to your counterparts in other communities if they have this kind of stuff to see if they're, is it a bad part? Is it a bad, like, are we running into bad parts by a supplier or is it like something we're all seeing because this was a particularly bad leaf season?
it was possibly.
Very unusual.
We're just, not so many people do what we do with leaf pickup.
Yeah, it
and
was
stuff
super
like
dry.
that.
So like there was so much dust,
Lot
like
of
the
dust.
guys we were having to wet down leaves to try and, I mean, it was really bad and
It
really
was very
hot.
unusual.
Yeah, because it was dry.
Yes.
They pulverize. It's just, you can't even see. I couldn't see you.
It's kind of like, would you rather have a rainy, wet, heavy leaf season or a dry season?
To find that
Spot
happy
in
medium.
between that- that never
There's
happens,
somewhere in
you know?
between there. You never know what you're gonna get.
So this company does the work on this. This is stuff you guys do in house. You send it out, right, to get this done?
Well, the reason we're actually saying is because typically it doesn't, we've never actually seen this bearing go. So this is very new. So we'll send it to him. They're
And they guarantee it.
super familiar with all this. So, and we're kind of handcuffed to one through VACOL. They regionally, I call the guy in Long Island. He says, I have to talk to this guy. There's no way around it to get any secondary. It all just goes direct to him.
Okay. And they guarantee the work, I guess, for
I'm assuming for
3 months.
yeah, red light, tail light.
Okay.
Have to do it.
Two fun items in a row.
I know. Okay. If I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Bar Sales, Inc. for $14,352.50 plus a contingency of $1,400. I like that 10%, Tiger.
Mhm.
For a total project of $15,752.50 to repair and provide maintenance on the VAC all unit number 35 used for leaf collection, storm drain, cleaning and hydraulic excavation.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lou.
Thanks, Lou. Thanks, Jimmy.
Waveney Lamp Post Project.
Oh, Bill. Sit wherever you want, no matter.
Good, they went well the last one for you. You got two big guys on each side of you.
Right.
Morning, everybody.
Hey, Bill. You want to take it?
Yeah,
Go
so this is the lamp post project up at Waveney Park. It's the first of 2 phases. We received the lamp posts. They took a little while to get order through Steinberg. So we took possession of those last week. So now to install them, I went out to bid. I had 3, just a couple elements to this. I'll do them one at a time. There was the construction element of installing the new lamps. And then the second piece is to the electrical portion of that from a licensed electrician. I met with 3 different contractors out there for the construction portion of it. Went over the whole project with them, and we received only 1 bid back from DeFubio Construction for the $38,000. The electricians, I sent it out to 2 electricians, and only 1 showed up to go over the project with us, and that was Darien Electric. And that was for $22,930. And we have 5% for a contingency on this. Being the first phase of it, when the budget's approved, if it gets approved for next season, we'll order the remaining lights and continue the program next year and finish it off. The lights that we're replacing, we're gonna replace them in kind, like the ones that are on our downtown.
Yep.
The ones that they have up there were a lot smaller. They stopped making them. They're very old. So we're gonna basically redo the whole thing, new footings and everything, and put LED lights in them so it'd be more efficient. And we have new astronomical timers we're installing, getting rid of the old mechanical ones, so they'll work on latitude and longitude instead of constantly going back, changing the time on them and what have you. So
So where in Waveney Park exactly are these 25 going?
we're gonna start down at the carriage barn. We'll get the more safety sensitive areas.
Okay.
So we want to start there, work up like the stairwells and walkways in their parking lot and around the castle first.
Mhm.
And then the second phase, we'll expand out to more of the parking lots and work our way down over by Lapham Community Center. There's a total of about almost 70 lamps up there.
70 total.
So
And
from
then when are you contemplating replacing these 25?
No.
Oh, like next
Immediately.
week?
If you approve,
I just was like, I would like them in before the summer.
Oh, no,
and-
yeah, no, so they're in our possession. We have them stored in a safe place. And if approval today goes through, I'll be up in the office with a contractor at some point, either way, today, tomorrow. And then I will schedule the contractor, beginning of May, April rather, to get them going up there. And so the thought is not to go make a big mess. We're gonna do one string at a time. So if there's a circuit breaker that has 6 or 7 lamps on it, we're gonna do those first, because I don't want the whole park to go dark, obviously, right? So do those, we'll get those back online, and then we'll just keep continuing. from there.
How long do you think this total project will take? Started tomorrow,
Oh, we kicked that around with the.
25, just these
Yeah,
25.
we were kicking around with the contractor, and it's kind of like the first couple will be the test to see how long it takes. We were trying to anticipate, getting, let's say if we did them in lots of 10, we're thinking, maybe, 10, 15 days, because he has to remove the old one, set up a new footing, pour concrete. Then I gotta get the electrician out there to confirm all the wires are still good, and then just install the lamps. So it's a little bit hard to say at the moment. I'm trying to, I was hoping to try to get like one a day done, if not more. But I think it'll tell us more once we get started. We're up against, because they're not all the same, unfortunately, because they were done over time and different people installed them. So we have some where we're trying to discover if it's buried cable or if it's in conduits, if there's some unknowns there that are underground. So it's a little bit of a learning curve, the first few. And then hopefully once he gets into the rhythm, boom, 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 it'll be more systematic. So to answer your question, I'll know a little bit better in a couple of days once we get it going, we sit down.
Okay, just because we're going into the season of heavy usage of the park, and so I just want to
There's no good time for this.
no,
Just-
there
it's-
isn't,
it-
there
you know,
isn't, but I just,
Hopeful that if the budget goes through for phase 2, I'm hoping that Steinberg will work with me and try to execute those and have them to us for the fall, so I can try to finish this project this year. I don't know, I ordered these back in November and we just received them. So it's, and then
you should just make sure that you're, obviously working with John, but also the powerhouse, because if that's the area that you're going to be
Oh, yeah, no.
installing, they need to know what you're doing down there.
they will know.
Obviously weddings will,
Yeah, no, they'll know about it because some of the power comes out of those areas of the building. I know they'll be tickled to get this done because they've been asking for better lighting there for a while.
I just want them notified. I know they'll know what's going on. I just want them notified so they know
They'll
in
be notified.
advance.
So Bill, can you just remind us, the entire Waveney Park lamppost project, this phase of it, the total amount we put aside for it was X?
Oh,
So
the
how mu-
total,
Yeah, because it was buying them and installing them. How are we vis-a-vis,
we have 280 in the first phase and we have 280 in the second phase.
right, and where do we, we coming in under 280 or where are we?
This first 280 is going to be spent. The second 280, again, and, most of it's going to the project, and we have a little contingency in there because we had discussed more coverage of lights. So there's some areas that are a little dark that we may try to expand upon.
Add lighting.
Yeah, and it was budgeting for it was a little tricky on the lamppost side because of the metals, the materials, all these things are up in the air where it comes from overseas and whatnot. So it was a little hard. No one would give you work with you on a good firm. But I could say, because we did buy in volume, we did save money as opposed to buying one at a time, like we have to when one gets hit. And we saved probably about $1,200 a unit by buying in volume. So that did help. So I'm trying to capitalize on it for the next phase of this to try to get the same. I'm hopeful to try to negotiate and see if they keep the same number. And if we could do that, that would be fantastic.
So, how, you were talking about the lights are gonna be, sensitive to the change of daylight and stuff. How do they go on? Are they go on automatically at dusk? Do they stay on to a certain point in time?
They
Are they
work-
motion activated?
No, they work off of latitude and longitude, and they'll be, you can also have in there for the time, hour change and everything. So every day they'll they'll go on and off at a little different time as it's sun.
But do we keep the lights on all night in the park or do we? Okay,
It's safety things, they stay on.
I mean,
I mean, we can always adjust them so they go off, but that's,
no, but it's like that, the dark sky, and then we're trying to keep dark skies and, do stuff that's appropriate for, the
I
animals.
mean, we can do whatever you want. You guys can have.
Are they programmable? That's my question.
Program, well, we can have a discussion if you want to do something with that.
I totally get the whole dark sky conversation. Unfortunately, we have had multiple incidences of vandalism in a number of our parks. And so, our cameras work better when you can see things. And so I think it's important for us to, from a safety of the building and of our property, to have some illumination in those specific, because we are having issues.
They are shrouded. So
Yeah.
there is a
Yeah.
shroud inside that directs the light downward. That PNC has accepted because we're using the same ones over at Capo. So in that regard, it's not pure certified dark sky, but it is shrouded to the point where it's directed downward. That's correct. So that does help, for migratory birds and what have you.
We're going with LED and they're only going to be a 13-watt bulb in there compared to the old 100-watt.
So it's not super bright.
We could adjust the color. We could adjust the colors on them. And my thought was to keep them the same colors I have in town here at the 2700 level because they're not white, they're yellow.
Mhm.
And they're kind of more of a dimmer look, but they still give enough light that would satisfy the safety concerns.
So they're lit all night. All night. long.
But they are adjustable. If you guys decide in the future you want to make changes,
Yeah.
it's easy to do.
I mean, I understand your safety concerns too. It's just like.
Yeah, it's a hard balancing act.
Yeah, but I think
understand what
it's
you're
something, it sounds like they're adaptable. So I think
Mhm.
it's something maybe we think about what makes
Yeah.
the most sense. Are they motion They're not motion
On a
sensitive.
motion, they strictly work off the latitude and longitude. The light bulbs themselves have 3 settings on color
Mhm.
to go right up to 5,000 Kelvins, which is super bright,
Right.
right down to, really dim. The idea with those, because they're supposed to represent a candlelight type of fixture from the old days, we keep them at the 2800, which is more that yellow. We look like a candles in there.
Mhm.
And so it gives casts enough light off that works fine in town. And again, we can adjust the timing on them. So you have 2 ways of adjusting things. So.
It's just worth thinking it all through. And I know there are many aspects to it,
Mhm.
so.
Okay, any other questions? If I could have a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with DeFulvio Construction for $38,000 and with Darien Electric for $22,930 plus a contingency of $3,070 for a total project cost of $64,000 to work together to remove and install 25 units of lampposts in Waveney Park.
So
It's unanimous. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good day.
Putnam Road.
It's a little bit more fun. So this will be a replacement of the existing sidewalks on Putnam Road from White Oak Shade to the cul-de-sac, and then on Surrey Road from South Avenue to Putnam. So it's one continuous band of sidewalk, all replacement. Nothing new per se. We did go out, we advertised this in the newspaper and directly solicited it from 10 separate contractors. We got 6 bids back. Stumpers LLC, which does doing business now as Restore, came in at the low bid at $424,543.75. I added a 15% contingency of $64,000 for a total of $488,543.75, and the monies are available in our fiscal year 25 sidewalk budget, which had an original account budget of $750,000. We haven't worked with Stumpers before. Stumpers is new. They beat Peter Lonnie by $10,000. Peter, I think, lost it in his maintenance and protection of traffic item. He had $16,000 in that for maintenance and protection of traffic. Probably should have been around the $5,000, which is where my estimate was. He puts it at $5,000, he wins. He keeps it at his number, he loses. But Stumpers is new. I did reach out to the community to find out about them. They have been bidding on our projects. They had aggressively pursued this one. They went out and visited it several times, had several questions about the project. So I spent some time with the contractor himself. And Stumpers was the restoration contractor for Burns. Before Burns had a site restoration division. Now Burns has a site restoration division. They don't need stumpers anymore, but they were their site restoration contractors. So they did all their sidewalk restoration, their sidewalk installation, things of that nature. And according to them, will be very well served. So while we haven't worked with them, I can only tell you the relationship's been professional so far with them. They've been very aggressive, very, very actively involved in pursuing the project. It is $10,000 difference between the two, between a known entity and not, but it's 10,000 taxpayer dollars. So I have to look at it from that standpoint as well. So,
because it is only $10,000.
Right.
And sidewalks are a 20-year purchase, more or less. And I don't want to be unfair to a new company, but it's a de minimis difference. And you've been pretty happy with Lonnie. Now, I know they have other projects. I don't know if there's capacity issues. I don't know.
I think it's good to broaden our network. They've been asking me for other opportunities to broaden their network of suppliers. And, I have always said they have to be the low bidder if we're going to broaden the network. Here is a company that has, a record of doing good work for Burns. And I think it's important for us not to be too locked into one supplier in this community. It keeps everybody's pencil sharp when you know that you have, you're up against multiple bidders.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely take that side of the argument. There's no question that, we need to broaden our contractors and do the right thing for taxpayers. The other side of the argument that I'll take is that this neighborhood has waited for this project for 10 years at least.
Yeah.
Having an unknown interacting with all of those different households every couple feet for $10,000, I do scratch my head a little bit, because Peter has done work in town. He's done work in front of different residences and always been interacting with those who he's worked for and in front of. Now, this could be an even better company with better traffic folks and better interaction, and it could be amazing. And but it is, you have to push the pause button and say, are we doing the right thing for $10,000? I mean, there's definitely have to have that conversation.
Who did Richmond Hill?
Lonnie.
Peter's done most of our sidewalks in town, and I actually think I have gotten responses that.
You're not going to make everybody happy.
No, but I think if we have a supplier who's recommended by a contractor we use in this town, Burns we use extensively in this town, and they use them extensively. I think it's fair to give somebody else a try. I mean, and I think Peter's done a great job, but he wasn't the low bidder, and I can't in good conscience accept a bid from somebody, even if that is the higher bid to the taxpayer for, pretty much I think it's a known quantity. They're a known quantity, and I think it's important to expand our base. But
I just wish it was in front of in front of the high school or down South Avenue where there's nobody there. This is they're going to move in for couple months.
There's a lot of kids that walk down.
No, I'm just using an example from
I
I'm
see
talking
what you're
residents and bikes and all the stuff that goes into doing this kind of work.
I'm gonna send a letter to the residents notifying them that that the work will be starting. It's gonna start, I failed to mention that, sorry, is we're gonna start after school, so there won't be any problem with school children walking back and forth. The contract states that he's got from the day after school to the week before school starts. So he's got the summer to do it. I don't anticipate him taking the summer. He's excited to start and work. So we'll send out a letter to the residents saying exactly what's going to happen, please, and then to work with the contractor on access in and out. We're gonna go. I have the same idea, but it's 10,000 taxpayer dollars. So I got 10,000 taxpayer dollars in my head, and he didn't win. He didn't win. I know exactly where he lost it. I told him exactly where he lost it, and he said okay. He moved on and bid the next job, and that was it. So there'll be other opportunities for Peter and others. So
and we are taking a new person for the Waveney Trails.
Yep,
You know.
I
exactly.
think it's a good thing.
It's not a bad thing. It helps everybody, to your point, it helps everybody sharpen a
I just
pencil.
think,
Exactly. Now
given,
that
given how
makes-
tight it is, I think
Yes.
it's worth talking about because,
Mhm.
you know, you kind of don't want to,
No, I mean, the whole reason you bid is to get the low bid. There's no question about that. But then it's up to us to say,
are we getting the right quality?
are we getting the right quality for the bid? And, we ask the question all the time. We asked it today about how is it possible that one person could be that far off? Now, in this case, they're not that far off,
Yeah.
but
Right. Well, if you also, if you look at it, so that the same people that bid very, very high on the last one on the trail, they started to dial in a lot closer on this one. I think it's also what their bailiwick is, what they're, most comfortable with. So you see here that the bids got even tighter. This is a larger bid, but the bids got even tighter. And then you'll see in the next one, they got even tighter. So it's just a question of, at that point in time, it's either A, what you're really good at, and B, okay, I've got to be, I've got to sharpen my pencil. I got to be on my game today. So
These are basically Burns Construction people rolled off to a separate entity, right? Is that what you said?
they were hired by Burns. I don't think they were a roll off from Burns. This is a two cousins that have a company, and they were working for Burns for quite a long
So kind
time.
of vetted by them.
Right.
And it wasn't an issue with Burns, it was just Burns said, oh, this is a lucrative business. I want to bring that in-house.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Burns decided to have a site division, and they bid our parking lots last year. Did a very nice job on them.
Did do a very nice
Yeah,
job.
so that's basically it. And
He did the sidewalks for the,
Burns did the sidewalks themselves. So they did not have stumpers do those. If they had, I would have already, we would
because those are nice sidewalks over at,
at the pool, at the Banco pool, and then over at West School, they did both. So
yeah, and all of those are, like construction type job. This is just a
Yeah.
little different because it's in a residential area, but
Yep.
I get it. It's $10,000.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Could I get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Stumpers LLC for $424,543.75, plus a contingency amount of $64,000 for a total project of $488,543.75 to replace the existing sidewalks on Putnam Road from White Oak Shade Road to the cul-de-sac and Surrey Road from Putnam Road to South Avenue.
So moved.
Second,
It's unanimous. Thank you.
thank you.
All right, Capo.
This next one is for additional consultant fees for Richter and Segan associated with the Capo Field project, specifically around the permitting process. So they had an estimate for what they felt the permitting was going to cost, $12,000 to get us through the various boards, inland wetland and P&Z. The unfortunate thing is that during the inland wetland meeting, we had an intervener come in with their own engineering staff and their own wetland soil scientist. So what we anticipated as being one meeting turned into four. And then before each meeting, we received a letter. So we got 5 separate letters that we have to answer. We had one specific meeting with the intervener and his staff. Our staff also met with the intervener's staff, their engineering firm, several times as well. So all in, that's just time is money at that point in time. So the unfortunate thing is that cost exceeded what we had anticipated and what was approved by the board at that time by $33,115. So in order to pay Richter and Segan, I've got to have you approve
And
that.
this is all being paid for by the Athletic Foundation. This isn't
Right.
taxpayer funded.
Right.
This is an athletic foundation. It's just, it has to go through us.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate.
Yeah,
The
it is
additional effort, that came forward on it, but
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
If I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to continue a contract with Richter and Segan for $33,115 contributed by New Canaan Athletic Foundation for additional consulting permitting fees associated with the construction and administration of the project.
So moved.
It's unanimous. Thank you. Abatement and demolition.
Hey, Jim.
Good morning.
How are you?
So I'm here this morning for the abatement and demolition of the single-family home and a shed at 28 Grove Street. The 28 Grove Street parcel was purchased as a strategic property, given its adjacency to the lumberyard lot. An 8-24 review has been presented to and approved by the Planning and Zoning Department. The Department of Public Works received proposals for the work. Complete Dismantling Services and their sister company, Complete Asbestos Abatement LLC, presented the lowest proposal. So the Department of Public Works is requesting authorization to enter into 2 contracts to raise the structures at the 28 Grove Street parcel. And this of the parcel would be, the demolition would include the foundation of the building, and then we would just level it off to make it safe. And we wouldn't do anything else at this particular moment until there's a further plan.
The house currently is an attractive nuisance.
Yeah.
It's falling apart and we just need to get it down.
And so when it comes down, it would just be vacant. And there's no, like, people couldn't cut through and cut out.
No, you can't get down.
I just
to
wanna
the
make sure.
parking.
You could walk, I mean,
Right.
you could walk through. There's a little bit of a grade change as it goes into the parking lot, so it wouldn't be inviting to
How
a
wide's the
car.
parcel? Do you
Excuse
remember
me?
how wide is that parcel?
Oh, it's 80 something feet, maybe.
Wide.
So when you pull the foundation out of there, Joe, so it'll be, when you do all the site work, what will be left there? What will someone?
So
see
the
there?
the
Just-
front wall will be left.
Yeah.
Will any trees that we don't need to take down because the root structure's tied in, a driveway up, and then there'll be kind of a flat area where the house was, that would be filled in to make it safe, so there's no trip hazards in the area.
So basically, would it be topsoil or what are we gonna do there?
No, we wouldn't topsoil it. We would just bring in stone
Yeah, oh, stone, okay.
or,
good.
or fill.
Something you guys, walk on or something. Yeah, okay. Okay, And then-
So we'll figure out what to do with
Yeah.
it. Could be parking, could be access, could be
Yeah.
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, when we bought the house, talked about knocking it down from the beginning, so this is kind of.
We talked about a lot of things.
Yeah, well, we talked about possible rent, we talked about a bunch of things, but ultimately we
Yeah.
knew we'd be knocking it down, so this
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Completely logical to
There
be
could
doing
be
this.
interim steps. Yeah.
Right, right.
There could be one step for a short period of time and a longer step, longer term
So it's a
solution.
hazard
so-
and it's dangerous.
Yeah.
What did we have in the budget for taking it down? Do you recall?
So there was originally there was, I believe, 70,000. Some of it was used already. So it was it $36,000 left in the original budget, and then there was transfers made so that we could perform this work.
Right, we had to transfer money from other accounts to make up the difference between the two. Board of Finance made those transfers already. It was part of the entire purchase price was
I
all
remember
rolled
talking
into
about the
one
numbers.
big price. And we had an estimate in there. The work that Joe has mentioned already was basically to disconnect the water, to get that out of the street so we could shut the service off to the building so we wouldn't have any freezing and that. But yeah, the remaining monies we had to supplement slightly to come up with the total.
So the neighbors there, you've got Arts for Healing, you've got Stanford Hospital, across the street Hobbs, then you got the Throops in the back. So you guys will talk to everybody, make sure everybody's on. board
Yeah,
with what's
we'll
going
go through the
on.
permit.
Any idea when that you?
Once we go through the permit process, so there'll be a permit process that we need to go through, and they'll get notifications through that. And as long as no one puts up the 90-day,
Yeah. I think
delay,
everybody
which I
knows
don't think
what's-
anyone would, we should be doing it
We
still in
never
the
do.
spring.
Good.
Good, all right.
Okay. If I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Complete Dismantling Services, CDS, for $39,898 for demo, and also with Complete Asbestos Abatement LLC for $8,850 for abatement, plus a total contingency of $5,450 for a total project of $54,198 to work together to raise the structures at 28 Grove Street, at the 28 Grove Street parcel. So it's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, EOC,
Yes, so the next one, Russ, you want to join us before there's any questions? So here for the police department EOC technology package. So this is basically an AV package for the EOC, for the EOC, and I would consider it a multi-purpose room. So
you said it's a what package?
AV package.
Oh, AV. I thought you said AD. And I'm like, what?
No, no,
Okay.
sorry.
AV package.
So it's an AV package, so it's audio, video, presentation, Zoom capabilities. There'll be 2 TVs on the wall and a Crestron system. So it's like this, but it's a scaled down system. We received 4 proposals for various AV solutions ranging from $162,000 to $49,255.87. And DGI submitted a solution that met the EOC's requirements and was the lowest cost. So I don't know if there's any particular questions on this.
So I just wonder, with the screens, does it have the technology that it will zoom in on the speaker? Like if you're, on Zoom, versus just like the whole group? Does it have?
So this specific system, because we trimmed it down, the PAL camera does have some intelligence, but it's not like a Zoom room like this where it actually has a server rack and brains that run it. It's all going to be run by a computer. So we're going to dedicate one of the computers just to kind of run the system. So a lower cost option that can still do it manually.
All right, good.
Just when we first started doing it, you go your face and then Steve and that.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
We talk at the same time. That's the problem.
Any other questions? If not,
That's
if
it.
I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works, Emergency Management and IT Department to enter into a contract with DGI Communications for $49,255.87 plus a contingency of $5,000 for a total project of $54,255.87 to provide the Emergency Operations Center and AV system.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fiber work from Emergency Communications.
Absolutely.
All right, so the next one is for the fiber work for emergency communications. So we're requesting authorization to enter into a contract with Crown Castle Fiber. It's basically to install the dark fiber at the 174 South Avenue site, where we're removing it from basically disconnecting it over at the temporary PD and bringing it over as part of that June 6th move. So this is the dark fiber backhaul. It's basically for the state's 911 emergency communications.
What does dark
Department.
fiber mean?
It's
It
just
sounds ominous.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
So the dark fiber just means it's a point to point. There's no one else on that network.
We're not talking dark web here. We're just talking.
We're talking dark fiber. So it's dedicated. I mean, you could almost consider our WAN a dark fiber because it's a closed network.
Okay.
This was a little more secure though. So it's a 911 and there's only certain points that are on it. It's a giant loop.
Every day.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I said,
That's
I'll get
cool.
them later. So thank you for asking in public session.
So what I did have one, I had a mistake in my memo, just as far as saying it was the temporary police department, because I recycled the same memo from when we moved it
Okay, so
over.
this is the
So
new
it's
police.
really for moving it to the new police department. So
Okay,
when you
for
read it
the,
into the record,
for the-
I apologize for that.
For the permanent. Okay,
There's a disconnect and I failed to put in that it was for the new location as well.
okay. Great. It's the old new location.
Old new.
Okay, the permanent. All right. If there are no further questions, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Crown Castle Fiber for $10,150 plus a contingency amount of $1,000 for a total project of $11,150 to install fiber related to emergency communications for the permanent police department location.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Elm Street bump outs.
Okay, so, well, thank you. This is our last item. So this is for the south side of Elm Street, the bumping out on the south side. We've already done the north side from through the area where it's no parking and through the Playhouse. Now we're looking to do the intersection of South Avenue and Elm Street, and then the area directly across from the Playhouse in front of the Bank of America. So that mid-block crosswalk or that crossing area. We noticed this in the paper and we directly solicited from 12 contractors. And here's where you see where that second bidder got even tighter now, is starting to come way down. The unfortunate thing is we don't have anyone in the
Right, that
middle.
was the most expensive bidder on the last
That's correct, the
project.
last two. So
Uh-huh.
that's why I was mentioning it. So, and then it comes down to also the fact that in this regard, people don't feel they can compete. So there's some that just didn't compete at all and decided not to. So while we solicited with the same contractor where we got 8 or 6 from before, we only got 2 bidders on this one. The only good thing is that my estimate of construction was slightly higher than Peter Lonnie's 125.25. So it's a good number. It's not above my estimate. It's below my estimate. And he's done all the other bump out work in town. He's done an excellent job in that regard. And if you were going to ask me where I would want him to work most, I'd want him to work here. If I'm going to choose between Putnam and here, I'm going to have him.
Well, there's a lot more people here, that's for sure. A lot more people here, that's for sure.
Yes, and a lot more issues and a lot more dealing with the retailers and the parking and everything. And he's already aware of what it is and what it entails for people walking through your job site all day, every day. So
How long is this going to take, Tiger, to do this?
couple of weeks, 3 weeks or more.
3
It's
weeks?
probably about a week per bump out. I'm anticipating 3 to 4 weeks.
When would he start?
He's on Millport Avenue right now. He's got a couple of weeks left on Millport, and then he's going to come straight here. So the goal for this was to actually do it in the April, May timeframe and be done by June, so that I definitely want to be out here around the sidewalk sale, but during June and for the rest of the season, I wanted it to be open.
Yeah, because we want it done before like graduation and all that kind of
That's,
stuff.
the
I
specs
worry about April, May just because of rain, because he can't work in the rain, I assume.
can do certain work, can't do everything, can't lay the brick, but he can put the granite in, he can do some other things, some catch basin work, but he can't
mean,
put the brick in.
Let me just theoretically, would this be better in August?
Oh,
I'm asking from the selectmen board too. Would this be a better project to do in the August timeframe than as we're heading into sort of probably an important retail? See, I don't know, Tucker. I'm just asking because this is going to be very disruptive to the downtown. It's going to block off sidewalks. I am super concerned about doing this when it's not going to hurt our retailers.
You don't want another Christmas.
I
Christmas Eve
don't.
fiasco.
And so I'm thinking maybe August would be better because it's super quiet here.
The only other issue I have is that pushes my paving out where I'll be into September, because
Paving.
I was going to pave the road and do the crosswalks. I was trying to do that right after the sidewalk sale in that time frame. So I'll be pushed out. I agree with you on that. There'll be disturbance. He did a fine job in front of the Playhouse and
Could
from the
we,
others, but
yeah, I mean, could we do, let's just talk about end of July. Could we do end of July? I would like to have the least disruption to the downtown merchants, because if we disrupt for this, that's going to disrupt that side of the street for 3 weeks.
at least, yeah.
And if it's raining, it's going to be more than 3 weeks because you're going to have to extend the project.
I can also have them do one.
Yeah, you know what? I'm doing the Chamber of let's talk about it. I mean, I want to approve this project, but let's talk about what's the best timing for this, because it is going to be disruptive to the merchants.
I can also have them do one area at a time. That's my plan, was to do one elbow at a time, not to, he doesn't get the entire project. He gets this finish, this finish, this finish, if you will, right? So it's not all torn up. We can do it at any time you want. It's just, just so
it's really not when I want it. I just want it.
Well, what's best for the downtown?
Yeah, what's best for the
And,
downtown.
our feeling was
And
to
I
get
would
in
love
and get out.
anybody's feedback on
Right,
that. 'Cause
right. Our feeling was to get in and get out, but we can, and then leave the rest of the summer for them, but we can look,
just worried April and May, get in, get out with rainy season. It does not sound like get in, get out.
So this slide that you have.
I want to
here-
make sure I understand it.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
one-
So
what
can
we're
you,
doing.
can you pull, is there a way to pull that slide up on the screen so people can see it? That's second. Okay, no, forget it.
So this is 4 different bump outs. Am I looking at this correctly?
Yes.
So across the street from the Playhouse where we have the cars, that's already done. Is that right?
That
Cross-
side, the Playhouse side. she
Playhouse
said.
side.
All done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where we have like the bricks on top of the cars, there are no cars there. It's just the brick.
Right.
So we're across the street.
Everything's on the south side.
Okay, and the first bump out is near the Dunkin' Donuts. Am I looking at this?
The old Dunkin' Donuts or the new Dunkin'
new
Donuts?
one.
The new
The
one.
new Dunkin' Donuts, that's correct. So on you would call that the southeast side of Elm and South.
Like a little
In front of the
kidney
Dunkin'
shaped.
Donuts is a little kidney shaped,
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to make sure I understand.
Right,
And then
then
across the street.
one of the, what's that, the jeweler?
Yeah.
Right, same thing, a kidney shaped design, a little bit larger, because it has a 25 feet in that. And then you move forward, you move up the street, westward, and then you get in front of the Bank of America. You have a small bump out on the, if you're looking at the Bank of America on the
Yeah.
left-hand side of the crosswalk. And then on the other side, we have a larger one in front of Dolce.
Okay, and how does this change parking? Are we
It'll-
grabbing any spaces here?
5 back.
Okay, 5. And so if I'm looking at this picture and it's right now, it's all hatch mark, it says AC in one of the
Accessible.
accessible. So is that is that a handicap?
Yes, it's an accessible space.
And the one next to it would be regular? I'm just trying to understand.
Right, there's
I'm-
an accessible space and a standard space next to it, because the hatched area
marks.
comes into where the bump out area is in certain locations. I don't know which
so
one you're
the-
looking
the-
at.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand.
So
where
you're
we're getting
grabbing two in
spaces.
that one spot between the two. It looks like we get two extra spots between, so say the old Dunkin' Donuts and the end of the jewelry store.
Correct. And then we gain a couple more on the far side, and then with restriping, we gained 5 total, which is
For the
what we
front-
lost.
For both sides of the street.
Well, we
Both
lost.
sides of the street.
Yeah, we
The,
lost
the
5.
work on both sides gets 5. I think there was a conversation earlier about like, how many does this work bring us, this one side?
This one side brings us 5. The other side lost us 5, so it's
Oh,
actually
okay,
a
so
net
it's
of
all
0.
on this side.
All on this
Okay.
side gives us the
Okay.
5, right? So it's a net of 0, but we've had the loss on the north side.
Yeah.
We've had that loss since COVID. So in essence, it's been gone since 2019. So and now we're looking at, with this, we'll be able to gain 5 back.
So Tiger, on the Dunkin' Donuts kidney shaped one,
Yeah.
right next to it is really tight white slash marks. Nothing goes there.
That's the hash mark. That's the accessible area. That's correct.
Okay, and
it's-
then 19, that's an accessible space there or not? Is the hash mark space, is that a parking spot?
that's the accessible, that's the hash mark space for the accessible space next to it. You actually have
So
to have.
19 on
accessible.
our thing. It doesn't have AC on it.
Right, that would be an accessible space.
It still is an AC.
Right.
Okay. Wow.
And the idea for these bump outs from a pedestrian standpoint is you'd walk out, you'd be closer to the crossing point. So the visibility is much better.
Right, if you have a much shorter crossing distance than we've had in the past,
Right.
much shorter. So before it was curb to curb.
Yeah.
Then we had the bump out on the north side, which brought us in about 8 feet. This one's going to bring us out about 20 feet. So we're shortening it by about the crossing by about 28 feet.
Yeah. So safety wise, it should be much better.
So it used to be 2+ lanes you went across. Now it's like 1.5.
Well, it's still 2 lanes. It's still 2 lanes of traffic. It used to be the parking stall, the
Right.
traffic lane, and the parallel parking stall. You used to have to cross all of them. Now you only have to cross 2 lanes. So, and it also brings the pedestrian out. So it's not being viewed from behind the car. You can't see them. They're out in front of the car. So anyone traveling up Elm Street, you'll be able to see the pedestrian standing at the pedestrian ramp waiting.
That pinch point looks like it'll be tighter though,
Yeah.
between, as you come down South Avenue into
Narrows.
the intersection. That's that pinch point where the car comes, the cars that make a left up Elm and then the cars that make the left onto South.
Mhm.
That looks like it's pretty narrow there.
It's right. We had the fire department track it. So the fire department we did an engineering analysis on it. So turning templates. So we had the turning templates done for larger truck vehicle. They all passed all those turning movements that you mentioned. So coming up Elm Street, left onto South, coming up South, left onto Elm. They passed, and then we had the fire trucks actually come out and see whether or not they could maneuver it. So we coned off the area and they were able to make the turns. That was part of the police commission approval at the time,
Staying in their lane.
staying in their lane. Yes. And if you But if, right.
I
I'm just
well,
asking the
looking-
obvious
I think we
questions
all
of
saw
it.
the same thing. I'm
Yeah.
like, ooh, that looks tight.
Yeah.
If you look in the picture, you can actually see where a car was turning left from Elm Street to South Avenue, and they're actually in the oncoming traffic lane.
I was like,
So this will actually make
it'll
them
force them to make the
force them to
wider
make a wider
turn.
turn and stay in their lane. That's so,
Uh-huh.
yes, it'll make them make that turn around the bump out
Uh-huh.
and stay in their lane. Whereas before they were cutting it short and they were actually in the oncoming traffic lane
Mm.
from South Avenue heading towards Elm. That car was actually in the, you can see it in the picture, was actually in that lane.
Yeah.
So this will actually line everyone up a little bit more and should calm traffic even further. Not that speeds are high at present, but
Do the bump outs sort of stay within, so it looks like on the, what would that be? That would be the east side of of South Avenue. Is that right?
the east side of South Avenue,
Yes.
so that'd be the right-hand side by Dunkin' Donuts?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm proud I said east side. Usually I say left. So that bump out, will that stay within sort of the
With the parking-
parallel parking?
yes,
And so,
yes.
and same thing on the other side, that bump out will stay within sort of the
Yes, that's,
distance of
yeah,
the
that's
bump
the,
out.
exactly it.
parallel
So
parking.
the cars will actually be
Okay.
protected. It'll be parked
Okay.
off and then
Right.
you'll come back out again. Very similar to what we have on the north side now, where you can see we only took 8 feet, which was
Okay.
basically the parking stall width. So that bump out, yes, will come out from the existing sidewalk out approximately 8 feet and will be, so the car will nestle into the parking space out of the travel lane. So we won't be narrowing the travel lane at all. That's not the goal. The goal is to leave the travel lanes to their current location, the current width.
So the bump out across from the Dunkin' Donuts, that's like a big brick expanse. I mean, what people, that won't
That's
be.
the jewelry store. stuff.
Yeah, the jewelry store, but there
Okay.
won't, I mean, it's like a lot of space. I mean,
Right,
will
right now we
put
have people-
tables in or something, or
The thought is to place some benches, maybe a bike rack. Yeah, there's some
Yeah.
things that we can actually, some amenities. In the past,
just sitting there open. you know, Not used.
we put a bike rack out and people have actually moved the bike rack so that they could park in the paved area where the bike rack was. So
You have to go
No,
up curb, yeah.
go up on the curb, right? So the curb kind of prevents it all, but yeah, so it lends itself for additional
Mhm.
furniture, an amenity like a bike rack, maybe a planter or two. Right
Same with the
now,
other one, the big one across from the bank. right?
yeah, right now we're leaving it open and then we'll fill as necessary. We don't want to come in we want to just have it come in, have everyone understand what it is and then look to beautify it.
And this is the last step
This is the last step.
before we put the lovely pavement down. Before then someone cuts it.
And
up.
the nice little crosswalks.
And then, we'll look to come in and, we'll look to come in and pave, and then we'll put in the decorative crosswalks similar to what's at the library, which was what we had previously. Now they're just, they've been in place since 2007, 2006, I believe. So they need to be replaced. So we'll come in and repave. We'll do that at night. The goal is to do the paving at night on Elm Street. We did it approximately 10 years ago or more. It worked out very well. The businesses weren't that affected at that time. We'll start at like 10 o'clock at night and then run through.
I roll up earlier.
Yeah, and then be done by the morning. So it'll be milling one night, paving the next. Yeah,
So Tiger, just so for communications purposes for all of us, when people ask us, because everybody asks us, we lost 5 spaces on Elm Street. The north side of Elm Street, we didn't get any additional spaces back. We just,
Correct.
but now by putting in these bump outs on the south side of the street, we are getting back those 5 spaces we lost.
right. So it's a net zero. The whole package.
Yeah, but it's all on, this part is where we get it all. There was
Exactly.
nothing we got nothing from the other side. So
Correct. It was an entire package. When you looked at it, an entire package,
Right.
our goal was zero, net zero. And that's why we've been, patiently waiting to do this side to get the 5 back.
Well, the merchants will be happy they're getting the 5 back too, so that they'll have to cooperate a little bit with timing. But I think to your point before about tackling one of them at a time, instead of tearing the whole street up. I mean,
Right.
that's a whole different look. Like, okay, we're working this little corner here, then we move to the next one and the next one.
We
It's,
try to get it done.
I don't know.
Especially if they
We did
stage
that
it like
on the north side, we did that as well. We basically did one establishment at a time. Did the granite curb, did the brick, did the granite curb, so each establishment was only disturbed for that portion of time. This one's a little bit different because of the nature of the corner, but if we just do one corner at a time and disturb one corner, then the rest of it is open. And that was the goal. He doesn't want to be stretched out. I don't want to be stretched out. I'd just rather attack it, finish it, and then, you know, stick it. I call it stick and move, right? It says we stick and then we move.
All right, any other questions?
No, I think we.
If not, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Peter Lonnie, Inc. for $120,525 plus a contingency of $18,000 for a total project of $138,525 to install the new bump outs on the South Avenue side of Elm Street at South Avenue, at the South Avenue intersection and at the mid-block crosswalk across from the Playground House.
So,
Second.
It's unanimous.
Tiger,
Thank
just
you.
to go back in terms of, so this is out of the sidewalk budget and this is kind of where you thought it would come in. price-wise.
This is pretty close to exactly where I thought it was gonna.
I know what you do with this. You have this much money, you get done what you can, but I'm just
Right.
trying to understand.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
thanks, Tiger.
All right. Appointment. So you both should have received the resume for Bob Strong to replace, a resignation on the Affordable Housing Committee. This will, obviously, because of the term of the person who resigned, that term ended 7/1/2025. So that's why it's only through July, and then we can reappoint. Do you have any questions or? He did
He's
meet
great,
with
yeah.
Chris Wilson on the Affordable Housing
Mhm.
Committee, in addition to, I met him a while ago for another appointment.
Yeah, Another,
Okay.
another incredibly competent person raising their hand to help out.
Yep. All right, so if I
Yeah.
could get a motion to approve the appointment of Bob Strong to the Affordable Housing Committee for a 4-year term ended 7/1/2025.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. All right, Mimi. Cheryl's very. Yes. Now, that's exciting.
See there. We're here this morning to request that Adrian Vitti, not to be confused with Adrian Vittadini, be removed from probation as the administrative assistant to the town clerk. She started in September. Her start date was September 17th, 2024. And as you probably know, that's a very busy atmosphere down there. She's fit in very nicely. She's friendly, has great attention to detail. If you haven't met her, stop in there sometime and I'm sure you'll be impressed. So we're going to ask that she be removed from the 6-month probationary period to regular full-time employee status.
I can, say that she is a very friendly individual, like.
That's great.
Good. That's what we need down there.
Yeah.
It's a people place.
All right. All right. So if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Human Resources Director to remove Adrian Vitti from the probationary status as an administrative assistant to the town clerk's office.
So moved.
It's unanimous.
Thank you, Mimi. Hey, Mimi, thank you for always coming to our meetings too.
I
You're
know.
always in the audience, so thank you. Ah, okay.
All right, and you have in front of you the contracts under $10,000. Do you have any questions? If not. All right, we'll move on to tax overpayments. And do we have tax overpayments? Here we go.
Like 12:57.
Yeah. You have any questions?
Nope.
I think we have to vote on those, though. I don't have, okay, it's just not in the agenda. If I could get a motion to approve the tax overpayments,
So moved.
it's unanimous. And then legal fees.
So got some money hanging in there.
I know, only 3 more months. so,
Mhm.
Hopefully this year. Yeah,
Okay.
so far so good.
All righty.
Good.
All right. If I could get a motion to approve the legal fees.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous.
And hats off for
Yeah,
keeping an eye on
we're
those.
trying.
Let's not make problems
Yeah.
we don't have to.
Yes, yeah. Okay, selectmen's comments. I don't really have any comments. Nope. Okay. So if I could get a motion to move into executive session pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 1-200-6D to discuss a lease of real estate by the town when publicity regarding such lease construction would adversely impact the price of such lease.
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. Okay. So I'm inviting in Ann, Tucker, and the tenant. That's it.
Yeah, we,
Okay. All right. So we have voted to come back into open session and we are going to proceed to the last item on our agenda, which is the discussion and possible vote regarding our executive agenda item being the First Amendment to the lease between the town of New Canaan and Playhouse Lab LLC. Do we have any, could I get a vote to approve, could I get a motion to approve the First Amendment to the lease as I just described?
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. And then I guess, could I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
It's unanimous. Thank
Thank
you.
you.